Good morning, and welcome to the Miller Education Center. And what an incredible day of celebration, of the commonality of purpose and respect and appreciation for our veterans, and the honor to have Charlie Daniels and Miss Hazel here with us today. You know, today is the second day of class at Middle Tennessee State University, and by all accounts, the most populated, busiest day of class. So just imagine this organized chaos of 22,000 plus students frantically seeking 12,307 parking slots and 10 35-person buses constantly doing do-loops as they seek their classrooms and the opportunity only once to make that positive first impression on your academic leadership. And so we are here to show you once again the expansiveness and richness of this incredible university, but also to stay out of the way of all the people who are here to receive academic opportunities and to achieve academic excellence. In spite of this dilemma, the university leadership is here. And in this age of technology and Twitters and Facebook and electronic gizmos, if you believe that you can communicate or demonstrate to people what is important to you electronically, you are severely misled. That in spite of the technology, the only way that you demonstrate what is a priority and what is important to you is by your additional effort to personally be present and to look people in the eye and to capture the human dimension and to demonstrate a level of appreciation and respect. So that's what the university leadership is doing now. We have the university president and Mrs. McPhee here. We have the chief academic officer, Provost Dr. Burns. We have the Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Sells. We have the Director of the Veterans Center, Dr. Miller here. We have other Vice Presidents, we have other Deans, we have other staff and faculty. We even have the supervision of the Faculty Staff President, Dr. Martin. I saw her come in here to supervise me, as at times I'm honored to be a member of this faculty. Our Veterans and Military Family Center is the largest in the state of Tennessee, and from my foxhole, in my experience, it has the most comprehensive approach to serving our student veterans and their precious family members in this time of transition. It is the only center that has 2 fully funded VA employees, Vet Success on campus, and a mental health counselor. Recently, the Veterans Center received from the VA a Community Partnership Award, one of only 3 recipients and the only academic institution to receive that honor. It speaks of the incredible collaboration and cooperation with not only officials at the federal and state level, but within the community. I would like to recognize some of the senior leaders from the community that are here to recognize and honor Charlie and Hazel Daniels, that are here to demonstrate an unconditional support to the men and women who have worn a uniform and sacrificed everything to defend our freedom and our way of life. This is demonstrated commitment by your presence. At the federal level, the 80th Attorney General of the United States of America, Honorable Alberto Gonzales. Thank you, sir, for being here. We have Judge Blackburn here with us. She attends to a relatively new concept of holding veterans courts and giving opportunities to our veterans who have committed criminal activity and are looking for a way to get beyond that. We have Representative Dawn White. We have Deputy Rutherford County Mayor Colonel Retired Jeff Davidson. We have Major General Haston, the Adjutant General of the great state of Tennessee, MTSU alumni class of 1979. We have Brigadier General Retired Ogg, MTSU class of 1978. We have Mr. Traxler from the VA Tennessee Valley Healthcare System Director. We have people who are here that this is important. We have businesses who are here. We have HCA, Mr. Avery King, whose sole function is with veterans and military spouse talent acquisition. We have 2 vice presidents from Barrett Rifles, who to me as a simple infantryman, as a special operator for 38 years of my adult life, I owe a great deal of gratitude to the accuracy of that weapon system. We have Bridgestone, we have Nissan, we have USO and Rally Point 6 concepts. We have people who are focused on veterans and are here to honor Charlie and Miss Hazel. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would stand for the singing by Dr. Smith of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. On the 5th of November last year, when we were honored to have Charlie and Hazel at the opening of the Veterans and Military Family Center, Dr. Smith also sang, and afterwards he said to me, and Charlie, you stood up and gave him a standing ovation, so he said to me, do you think it'd be okay if I added to my documentary that I opened for Charlie Daniels? I go, absolutely, there is accuracy in that statement, and I think you should add, and Charlie gave you a standing ovation. So now twice you have had that privilege, as we have, to hear that rendition. I would like to comment that we have the connectivity with those on active duty. We are privileged to have here from the Fort Campbell Garrison, which ensures that Fort Campbell cares for the precious military family members and has the facilities which ensure that the active duty forces are combat ready and to ensure that they can deploy and then return. So we're privileged to have the Garrison Commander, Colonel Salome here, and the Garrison Command Sergeant Major Foster, who I'm amazed showed up because 25 years ago he was a young non-commissioned officer in my scout platoon when I commanded an infantry battalion in the 101st. Well done, sir. No one ever read the efficiency reports I did on you, or you obviously wouldn't be a command sergeant major. As we have this connection to the active duty forces, ladies and gentlemen, allow me the privilege to present Tammy Bass and Karen Kennedy. Please, ladies, stand. Our Gold Star mothers. Thank you, ladies. You represent everything that is pure in the sacrifice of military families in defense of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now the privilege to present the first of our guest speakers, University President Sidney A. McPhee. The 10th president of this university assumed the leadership role in 2001, shortly after the attack of 9/11. At a time when our nation was hurt and confused and angry and in dire need of calm, mature, decisive leadership. As he enters his 16th year here, the university has seen almost $800 million in improvements to academic and athletic and administrative facilities, has seen an increase of over 30 academic courses at the undergraduate and graduate level, who in May of 15 granted and approved a recommendation to create a Veterans and Military Family Center, 2,600 square feet, $329,000. That demonstrated commitment, which then opened and came into reality on the 5th of November of 2015. Who at every convocation and every commencement goes out of his way to acknowledge and recognize the student veterans. That every time those student veterans stand up in Murphy Center, there is a standing ovation. That by his word and deed demonstrates his sincerity and depth of commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, President McPhee.
Well, good morning. I love to say welcome to the beautiful campus of Middle Tennessee State University and to one of the best universities in the United States of America. It's certainly my pleasure to bring special greetings as we celebrate this unveiling, very significant event in the life of the university in honor of our good friends, Charlie and Hazel Daniels. The General has done a splendid job in articulating our honor and our pleasure of having many of our special guests here this morning, and I certainly would like to add to that. But I want to give a special, true blue welcome to the Honorable Megan Barry, who's the mayor of Nashville. And if you notice, she has on the true blue. She's true blue. Mayor Barry, it's great to have you back on our campus. She gave us the honor of delivering the commencement address last May that was well received by our graduates and their families. We also have with us a good personal friend, someone who has really made his mark on higher education in a short period of time he's been involved in this state. The new executive director of THEC, our good friend, Mike Krause. Director Krause, he also has in his blue tie, he shows me. I might want to add that Director Krause is also a proud veteran who served our country. Certainly, the First Lady of MTSU, Liz McPhee, who has given more than 110% of her time. There are so many friends and supporters here and colleagues. I want you to know how appreciative we are for your presence here today. Now, all of us in this room have one thing in common, and that is our deep respect and gratitude for student veterans and their families for their service to our country. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, we at MTSU are indeed committed in honoring their service by making our institution more accessible and supportive of their needs. We enhance our support services for veterans and their families, and thanks to the leadership of Lieutenant General Huber. You know, every time he comes in my office, I stand at attention because he's a Green Beret, and I don't want him to do anything dangerous to me. But General Huber and Dr. Miller and their colleagues really have done a remarkable job in providing the kinds of service to our veterans and their families, and they deserve a round of applause for their dedication and their commitment. I want you to know that this center represents an investment, not only financially, but also a significant effort of time and effort by many. It also represents innovation in its building design and its home for MTSU staff and Veterans Administration partners. And they have been indeed proactive in addressing the needs of our veterans. But most importantly, today, as you will hear, it shows the admiration and the gratitude for Charlie and Hazel Daniels, two remarkable patriots, and their major project, the Journey Home, that they have created and nurtured over the years. It is easy, perhaps too easy, to only speak of the respect due to our veterans. Such gratitude, of course, has value, but gratitude, gratitude alone is often insignificant. General Huber helped us here make our gratitude more tangible by advocating for this center and the good it can accomplish. Charlie and Hazel took a step further in investing in this center that will make it stronger, more visible, and more vital. They have also been generous, ladies and gentlemen, with their time, keeping the center, our veterans, in their thoughts and their deeds. And we've already announced that our facility, which now will be known as the Charlie and Hazel Daniels Veterans and Military Family Center, will be a significant addition to our university. Charlie and Hazel, through the Journey Home Project, have given substantially, ladies and gentlemen, to our center, not once, but twice. And they expected nothing in return. When Liz and I had Charlie and Hazel at our home for dinner a few months ago, and their colleagues, I shared with Charlie and Hazel my decision that night to name the center in their honor. I wish you could have seen his face, ladies and gentlemen. They were truly surprised and appeared stunned. They simply didn't expect it. They were and they are always humble, always gracious, and always focusing on the needs of others, particularly our veterans. So today, we formally commemorate their generosity with a tangible recognition of these two great citizens that will be displayed in the center and will hopefully inspire others to follow their example. So to my good friends, Charlie and Hazel, on behalf of 22,000 plus students, the 120,000 alums throughout the state of Tennessee, the nation, and yes, around the world, to our approximately 3,000 faculty and staff at this institution, and for all of us gathered here today, I simply say, thank you. Thank you again. Your gifts, your kindness, and your commitment will be lasting legacies at this great university. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
We created a new logo for the Charlie and Hazel Daniels Veterans and Military Family Center, and Charlie was gracious enough, as always, to provide a fiddle. If you'd be kind enough to hold that critter up. And here's our new center logo. Ladies and gentlemen, the words on the plaque put into history the more than 3 decades of service by Charlie to the members of the armed forces, describing over 50 tours, over 30 of those 50 overseas, over half of those overseas tours in combat zones. And the first time I had the privilege to meet Charlie, I told him, as a senior military leader, how profound those trips were to allow our men and women in harm's way to, through his music, momentarily to escape the responsibilities and horror of combat, and how profoundly appreciative I was of that task, that service to our nation that he performed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to introduce the Executive Director of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission, Mike Krause, son of a Navy veteran. I've had the privilege to meet his dad. I'm older than his dad, so it's just always encouraging, but I had the privilege to meet his dad. We discussed why he didn't go into the Navy, and I stopped short of going because he had more intellect, so I didn't do that. So the son of a Navy veteran, enlisted in the Army Reserves at the age of 17, then at the age of 18 transitioned to active duty with the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault at Fort Campbell. On the attack of 9/11, he was promoted to Sergeant E5. I tell Army commanders around the world that the reason from my foxhole our military is the best in the world is not because of the officers, it is because of the non-commissioned officers. I have generals and commanders of armies go, Huber, you let your sergeants do things that we wouldn't allow our colonels to do. And so we talk about why their combat strength and combat effectiveness is diminished because of that approach. He then was assigned the duty within the 101st to be the Air Operations Non-Commissioned Officer and immediately deployed into Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan, where he directed fixed and rotary wing aircraft of the 101st and of the Special Ops community as we went to Afghanistan to kill and capture those who had facilitated that attack on our nation. He came back from Afghanistan to then deploy twice to Iraq in that same duty position. He transitioned out of the military. He immediately went into his undergraduate work at Austin Peay and then his graduate degree at Vanderbilt. He was appointed by Governor Hazel to be in charge of Tennessee Promise and Drive to 55. He is now the executive director of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. He's the proud father of a young man, but he is anxiously awaiting Miss Lily's arrival, scheduled for the 1st of September. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Krause.
My cell phone will be on the podium, just in case, and I hope you understand. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak briefly, really to say a couple of different things. One, I learned early on in my career in higher education, if I wanted my wife to lose all interest in the conversation, to tell her about my day. I feel as if being able at the end of today to say, I spent some time with Charlie Daniels, she might be a little bit more interested. And the fact we're all here today to talk about Charlie and Hazel's contribution to MTSU is profound. It's also profound to think about what this university has done. And this is really a story arc that has a couple different characters I want to walk you through really quickly. First, there is General Huber. And as I've gotten to know him over the last year, I think you all seeing him today, for those of you that don't know him, you have gotten to know him now. General Huber operates at one speed. I've also thought that in this era of security concerns on campus, Dr. McPhee has made great strides. And by simply placing posters at each corner of campus that Huber is here, you are instantly lowering the threat level. Dr. McPhee really touched on what I wanted to say about him, and that is moving beyond the thank you for your service, which is always appreciated. And veterans are always grateful to hear that, but there's something beyond that Dr. McPhee has really embodied here. He does thank veterans for his service, and then he shows them what MTSU is going to do about it. Hillary Miller, where are you? So every project has a believer, and I would say that this is really a conversation that started 4 years ago with Hillary, the brother of a Marine who got her life right and is now married to a soldier. Hillary's passion for this subject is infectious. If you aren't connected to veterans, you are after you talk to her. And she really, in my mind, has been the believer that has carried this project through. And then really the reason we're here to talk about Charlie and Miss Hazel. General Huber related what it's like for a soldier to have somebody come from home and see them in a place that's inherently unsafe. And what that means to us when we are deployed is it's a reminder of what's home waiting for you. And honestly, it gives you a little bit of hope. that this very surreal world you find yourself in every day will end and you will go home. And you all, being as connected as you are with the veterans community, is a huge example, I hope, to the rest of the state. We are lucky that you are a Tennessean. I just want to say that I think that in just a year or so, we'll see a really cool transition happen here on campus, and that is there'll be 2 veterans walking across campus, and they won't say, I'm going to the Veterans Center. They'll say, well, let's go over to the Daniels Center. And I can think of no better honor than for your name to be synonymous with serving veterans. Thank you for everything you have done for this campus and for our state.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to introduce Mayor Berry, the daughter of a Marine veteran. Came into Nashville a quarter of a century ago, pursued her graduate degree at Vanderbilt, spent 20 years doing the very precise, difficult, honorable work of ethics compliance. In September of 2015, was elected the 7th mayor of Nashville, the first female Nashville. I have had the privilege to work with her with a VA initiative, which you saw the sign, Nashville Serving Veterans Community Board. Mayor Berry is on that board, which is co-chaired by myself and Tennessee Veterans Services Commissioner Grinder. She is not only on that board, she influences that board. She has provided unlimited support and enthusiasm as we selected board members who were focused on serving veterans rather than benefiting from being associated with veterans. And that is a huge distinction. Mayor Berry, thank you for all of your support, and I now welcome you to the podium.
Thank you, and it's a real honor and pleasure to be here with you today. I usually get to spend a lot of time talking about traffic, but today I get to talk about how important this center is to our military families and to veterans. And the men and women who serve us, who put their lives on the line for us, who do this every day without any thought for themselves, deserve to come back and have us step up for them. They leave their families behind. They're deployed to dangerous places. They don't know if they'll ever come back to their kids or their spouses, and some don't. And we thank you for what you have sacrificed. Some come back, but they come back with illnesses or injuries, physical and psychological, and we need to help them. And ultimately, this is what this is about, because it's about time that we just stop being thankful and we step up and we make it possible for them to resume their lives fully and to be part of what we are. So when I think about what this center has the potential to do and to be, I'm reminded last night of the Lyft driver that I had. He was active military, he's from Murfreesboro, he's come back, and he's driving a Lyft. And he has these amazing skills. He could deploy huge resources, organize, and be part of an organization. And that's what we have to figure out. If it's about having a veterans court, as Judge Blackburn has done, whether it is finally giving Metro employees Veterans Day off this year, because our veterans, 700 of them who work for Metro, deserve to be recognized. It's about making those small steps, and it's about this huge step that you all have taken. So this is about you, Hazel and Charlie. This is about your commitment to our veterans and their families. And it is just my great honor to stand up here today and say thank you. Thank you for doing this for no other reason than that you just care deeply about the people who serve our country. So thank you very much.
Miss Hazel. We know that this young lady, her unconditional love and support, has allowed the world to know and appreciate Charlie Daniels. And thank you, as next month you will celebrate 52 years of marriage. As when Charlie Jr. graduated from high school in 1983, she then joined Charlie on the road. And that's where I was privileged to meet her out walking with Charlie before a concert at Fort Benning. But for the last 33 years, you have traveled with him and you have shared him with our world. God bless you, Miss Hazel.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I don't know what to say. I'm just honored that you've done this for us, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And what Charlie always says, ain't it great to be alive and be in Tennessee?
Thank you, Miss Hazel, and thank you for dragging along with you this long-haired country boy. So, 1955, the rock band The Jaguars with Charlie Daniels wrote songs for Elvis Presley, performed with Bob Dylan and Marty Robbins. In 1972, formed CDB, the Charlie Daniels Band. 1974, second album, Fire on the Mountain, was when the notice was made of, gee, it went platinum. Songs like The South's Gonna Do It and Long-Haired Country Boy. 1974 was the beginning of a group of individuals who got together to play music together and was called the Volunteer Jam. The first location was the War Memorial Auditorium in Nashville. The 1975 second edition of the Volunteer Jam was done right here at Murphy Center. A location that we hope to repeat in the near future. I mean, it just seems logical that we do that. In 2007, well, let me go back. Let me go back to Million Mile Reflections, where most people recognize and where the fiddle initially on this logo was going to be gold for The Devil Went Down to Georgia, which was on that album, which then appeared on the soundtrack of The Urban Cowboy. So the first suggestion was, gee, let's do a gold fiddle, and then it was very quickly recognized that the impact of Charlie Daniels, that the music of Charlie Daniels far surpasses a golden fiddle, and that the fiddle needed to represent the patriot of Charlie Daniels and the impact that he has had on our armed forces, and that's where the logo then determined. In 2007, the Secretary of Defense gave an Exceptional Public Service Award to Charlie Daniels. In 2008, he was inducted into the Grand Ole Opry. In 2009, he was inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame. In 2014, he, with David Corlew, co-founded the Journey Home Project, and we have two other board members, Mercedes and Joe Longever, here. But I really relate to the Journey Home Project because that's what all of us who have served seek, is that pathway, that journey that will bring us back home to the communities and the businesses that we have spent our adult life protecting, to provide us that sense of home where we have sacrificed with our family members, where we have protected the families of the world, often at the expense of our own. That concept of home is so profound, and the Journey Home Project has accomplished that. So as this youthful patriot approaches his 80th birthday at the end of October and has scheduled 110 concerts this year, and that doesn't include the generosity of public appearances like this, and has just released a new album coming out this Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you the 2016 Country Music Hall of Fame inductee, Charlie Daniels.
Honored guests, brothers and sister rednecks, current and former members of the armed forces, Hazel and myself are honored beyond the ability to articulate the way we feel today. Dr. McPhee and your staff, I want to acknowledge your efforts in procuring space on one of our state's busiest and most populated colleges. I share this honor with my fellow board members of the Journey Home Foundation and every donor, large and small, who helped our foundation make a contribution to help bring this to fruition. Approaching my 80th birthday, I can't remember a time in my life when I didn't have the greatest respect, admiration, and gratitude for the United States military. I come from a time of great war, and from a place which played a very strategic part in that war. My hometown of Wilmington, North Carolina, had a shipyard that built Liberty ships, and it was a port city where oil tankers and cargo ships sailed out through the mouth of the Cape Fear River and across the Atlantic Ocean to service our troops in Europe. Many of them sunk just off our coast by German U-boats. Sometimes so close it was said you could see the fires of battle from our beaches, and we took the war very, very seriously. We had blackouts and air raid drills, and the tops of the car lights were painted to keep the lights from being visible at night. And all through this, no matter how bad it got, no matter how high the casualty list got, we said our prayers in the absolute knowledge that our troops were there, and no swastika or rising sun would ever fly above our beloved nation. We had patriotism as close to 100%, I think, as it ever was in my time. This is the days before technology, and we never knew when the Nazis were going to bring the war on shore, but we knew one thing. Ladies and gentlemen, only two things protect America. It's the grace of Almighty God and the United States military. It's that way now. It was that way in 1941. 2016 will remain that way as long as our nation remains a free and sovereign nation. We've had the honor in the last several years of being among our men and women in uniform in some pretty desolate parts of the world. And I'll tell you, I mean this from my heart of hearts, no matter if you find them at a base in this country or some hellhole over in Afghanistan or Iraq, they're the best we've got. There are no finer Americans. I want to thank you, Gold Star parents, for raising patriots. I thank you for your sacrifice. I want to thank you folks here who served today for your service. Greater love hath no man than he laid down his life for his friends. No veteran should return to civilian life to be bounced around by government bureaucracies or made to wait for badly needed health care or in any way ignored by the very society that they went to war to defend. The Veterans Center in Middle Tennessee is a step in the right direction, and one I sincerely hope will encourage other universities with significant significant veteran student populations to emulate what we've done. Hazel and myself accept this tremendous honor on behalf of the Journey Home Project and all those who work so hard to make this center a reality. We thank you for being here today. We thank you for this honor, and it was one that I will carry here the rest of my life. God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would now ask our athletic director, Chris Massaro, and Stephen Rhodes, a Marine veteran, to bring forward 2 football jerseys which identify Charlie and Hazel as honorary co-captains of the MTSU football team. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your presence here today on this historical moment of appreciation and recognition. I would ask you, in spite of your busy schedules, to avail yourself of a few moments to learn from each other and to make new friendships. We're very appreciative, and just think of how many of those 22,000 plus students are now riding a bus and frantically trying to find their classroom. Thank you all for attending.